Welcome to Tia's Table, where we talk about making fitness and wellness doable for busy women like you and me. Looking for healthy meal ideas, workout motivation, and good conversation? Don't worry, I got you, girl. Sit back, grab a snack, and let's have some girl talk. Hey, girl, hey, welcome back to another episode of Tia's Table. So glad we're getting a chance to catch up. I'm finally calling you back. And I'm so excited about today's topic. Let me introduce myself if you're new around here. I'm Tia, a certified group fitness instructor. I'm also an accountability coach for women. I help women develop healthier habits that align with their health, wellness, fitness, and sleep goals. If sleep is an issue for you, we can definitely talk about that too. If that sounds like something that you're interested in learning more about, you can hit me up in my email. You can do that by emailing me at tiavfitness@gmail.com, or you can always shoot me a DM on Instagram at tiavfitness. A new group will be starting in May for group coaching after Mother's Day. So stay tuned for all of the details on that. And also, just to throw this in here in my intro, I'm so close to being done with that food certification. Let me tell you, that class is so hard. So keep me lifted, keep me in your T's and P's, because I can almost taste the achievement. That is how close I am to being done with that class. So let's talk about what's on Tia's table this month. I have been eating, well, as we talked about on the last call, I've been eating a lot of vegetables, a lot of them. And sometimes I need a little snack. This particular snack does not have a vegetable in it, but it's so comforting to me for that reason. I also like sushi, right? So this is like a sushi based thing. I also really like and enjoy sushi, but because sushi can be very fatty, but you know what? Sushi is one of those things that sneaks up on you, because on the surface, just to look at it, it doesn't look like a bad choice, right? You're like, oh, it's not that much rice. Oh, it's not that much fish. It's not that much this. It's not that much that. But then when you know more about nutrition and you start like tracking all the things, so you're just more aware of what you're eating, you say to yourself like, oh no, this thing is like loaded with fats. Like it's loaded with fats. By the time they drizzle all that stuff on it, you're eating the fish. And if you get salmon in your sushi, salmon is good for you, but it is really fatty, right? Then you're eating the rice and they sprinkle little seeds on top. Like, girl, by the time they are done with it, it is no longer like all that healthy of a choice. And then let's face it, are we really eating just one sushi roll? We never are. Or at least I'm not. When we do sushi nights around here, we get like 4 or 5 rolls and you're just like eating and talking. Like you're eating and talking. And if you're anything like us, you are also drinking wine while you're doing that. So it's just like, I've always said, and I stand by this, sushi is a social food. So first of all, it's not even your real meal. You're probably going to eat again after that. And the calories they stack up, and they stack up quick, right? Me having a taste for sushi, but knowing like, sushi, you cannot stop me from the greatness that is awaiting for me this summer. I was like, what can I eat? Like, what can I make around here that's going to give me sushi vibes without all of the calories? And so, girl, let me tell you. Now, I have made this for myself 2 different ways. The first way is to get the tuna in the pouch. So it's just like the plain tuna. And I think it's got 17 grams of protein. Like the fats are really low. Like the carbs are really low. Like it's great. Everybody knows that tuna is a good choice, right? So I get it now. And this is, please don't hang up on me. I don't do anything to the tuna. Like I don't mix it anything. I don't do anything to it, right? I just pour some of the liquid out of the pouch. And then I get the tuna out and I just scrape it onto a plate. Then I get some wasabi flavored seaweed snacks. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. And you can either do one or 2 things. You can either just take a fork and like scoop some tuna into one of those wasabi seaweed snacks and just eat it. And that's, that's good, right? Or I keep telling y'all, I'll put sriracha mayo on anything. And the little small bit of drizzle that you're going to use is not even worth measuring, right? So I'll do a zigzag drizzle on my tuna. And sometimes I'll do that and put it in the little seaweed snack. and eat it that way. Okay, so that's one option. Another option that I just did the other day that ended up being very, very good was I took a plain rice cake, and I guess it kind of made like a little sushi pizza, maybe. I took a plain rice cake, like a lightly salted one, because, we try to reduce the sodium where we can. A lightly salted rice cake, right? I covered it in seaweed snacks. So you just take the seaweed snacks and you just cover up your rice cake. So you might use 4 or 5 of them. Then I take the tuna, and I put the tuna on the seaweed. So it's like you're building a little sushi pizza. I put it on there. Then I get my sriracha mayo. I do my little zigzag drizzle, and then you just pick it up and bite it like a little pizza. And it tastes close enough to sushi. It's crunchy, it's salty, it's spicy. You get that wasabi flavor without it clearing your sinuses. And it's actually really good. And so that's been one very good snack that I've been able to eat, and it's comforting, and it hits all of the flavor notes for me. And it makes me feel like I'm not missing out on so much. So try that. Let me know if you like it. Obviously, you can swap out the tuna for whatever. If you want to use salmon, if you want to use chicken, if you want to use whatever you might like instead of that for the protein, try it out and let me know what you think. You could probably even try mashed chickpeas. Now that I'm thinking about it, you could make roasted chickpeas. You could put them in a food processor with some olive oil, get them all mashed up, and, kind of smear that onto a rice cake with the wasabi and all of that. And I'm pretty sure it would do the same thing for people who want a non-meat option. Try that and let me know what you guys think, or if you guys just think I'm so far gone off the deep end at this point, I'm eating anything, which, to be fair, I said that a couple calls ago. If you drizzle sriracha mayo on dirt at this point, girl, if you told me it was going to get me to where I wanted to go, I'm good. As long as it's not on my I'll never list, I will literally probably try almost anything that's natural. And my I'll never list really isn't even that long. It's a few things that I'll never do and I'll never try. But other than that, I'm pretty open. As long as I can tolerate the flavor and I can get it down. At this point, we are so close to summer. And I feel like I'm so dialed in at this point that, yeah, I'm coming up with lots of new ways to get the food in. I told a friend, we were chatting on Instagram DMs the other day, and I literally told her, girl, I'm tired of food. I'm tired of thinking about it. I'm tired of logging it. I'm tired of making it, shopping for it, and eating it at this point. Because, food is such a big part of all of it. And you kind of forget that when you have lost your way. I had lost my way. I had gotten away from myself. You know how you say your house has gotten away from you when it's messy? Well, I had gotten away from myself, and I had got messy, and I forgot how much hard work it is, just being aware of the whole food part. The workout part will always be easy to me, because that's let's just do this. It's 30 to 45 minutes of my day. But the food part, it takes thought, it takes preparation. And you pretty much do it several times a day. Whereas the workout, that's a one hitter quitter. You do that once during the day and it's it's done. But the food part, it's man, I got to make the right choice with this several times a day. So anytime I come up with anything new that's good, I literally eat it until I cannot stand to eat it or look at it or even think about it anymore. And I think that helps a lot with the food consistency. Once you find something that you like, which I know this is hard for people who like variety and who don't want to eat leftovers, or you don't want to eat the same thing all week. And I totally understand that. But if you are able to kind of just eat things until they're gone in your house at the very least, girl, that's my strategy. I find things that I like, or I just get in the mood. You know how you get in the mood for something? You get in the mood for something, and then I just rock with that until I'm not in the until I'm not in the mood for it anymore. Right now, I'm also really loving and enjoying yellow bell pepper and sliced zucchini cooked in the air fryer. I drizzle olive oil on it, or like I toss it in olive oil, and I'm actually seasoning it with steak seasoning. One of the seasonings that I buy, and oh, I wish this was like a visual format so I could show you, but one of the steak seasonings that I buy from BJ's Wholesale, and I cannot think of the name of it right now. I would have to post a picture of it on Instagram for everybody. But I season the bell pepper and the zucchini with that, toss it. I air fry it until it's done. And it is absolutely delicious. I've been eating that with my egg whites. I've been eating it with different proteins for dinner time. Like if my family is having something that I'm just not going to eat, I'll have that with whatever protein like I've made for myself, or with whatever protein they're having for dinner. And it's easy, it's fast, it tastes good, and you can use it in so many different ways. So this Tia's Table had 2 different meal ideas, but that's another one. Those 2 things taste really, really good with each other. If you have not tried, seasoning your veggies with an actual like seasoning that was made for steak, because you know how some companies will make steak seasoning. It's like the cheat code, like, girl, just put this on your steak and it's going to taste good. And this particular one is good. And it's got kind of like a butter component to it. I'll have to post a picture because it's really, really good. And it goes well with anything like breakfast, lunch, dinner. I love stuff like that. When I think of something, when I come up with something and it's really good and it's versatile, it can go with several meals throughout the day. I'm like, yes, I love that for me. Because that just makes it just makes it so easy. And while I would not eat an uncooked zucchini, I feel like I've been eating a lot of the yellow bell pepper once I discovered that was like good, a couple months ago. I've been buying that every week. I buy like 2 or 3 of those at the beginning of every week because I'm like, I can eat those raw. I can eat those in my breakfast. I can eat those in salads at lunch. I can put those into veggie medleys at dinner, and they're a good source of fiber. And that really helps me out because like I shared before, I'm trying to keep my fiber intake really high with these additional veggies. So that whole thing has been going great. If you try any of those meal ideas, girl, let me know. And I hope y'all like them. So let's talk about getting really good beauty sleep. Let's talk about rest and recovery, because I feel like, at least on this podcast, we haven't really talked about that enough. We've talked a whole lot about working out. We've talked a whole lot about maybe additional things to do to supplement your workouts. And we've talked a whole lot about food. But I feel like we have not talked about rest and recovery enough. And on my personal journey, I have been reminded of how important sleep and rest can be to your process, right? Before I started working with my trainer, I probably wasn't getting enough rest. I would say that I'm not one of those people that's busy on purpose. Like, I don't seek out opportunities to be busy or like overly productive. I just feel like it's always a lot to do. And I know that more than likely that someone that's going to end up doing these things is me. So I try to, make a schedule, make a check. I'm doing all the stuff everybody else is doing. You're making schedules and checklists, and you're trying to do your best to get all that stuff done on a daily basis so that it doesn't get backed up, right? And I think that because I'm also a person that has a really hard time like looking at mess and clutter or like things that obviously need my attention, I probably was not resting enough because I was unable to like see that things need to be done and just kind of ignore them. And I'm not saying that people who rest a lot are like ignoring the things they have to do, but I know that was a struggle for me. Like, I was just unable to like take a minute and just rest, knowing that there were things that I needed to be doing, right? Or that I should be doing or should be giving my attention. So one of the things that my trainer has us write down, like we fill out, like a check-in sheet at every session. And one of the things that you write down is how much sleep you got the night before or how much sleep you've been getting. And you write down whether your energy level is low, medium, or high. And when I first started working with her, my energy was high because my energy is always high. But is it though? Was my energy always high? Or was I always just pushing through? I don't know. I'll have to sit and meditate on that. But anyway, I would always write down that my energy was high, but I had only gotten like 4 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep. And she was like, oh, you're going to have to start getting more sleep. She was like, you need to be getting like almost 8 hours of sleep every night. She was like, if any of this stuff that you're doing is going to work, like you got to be getting more rest. And so she would be like, get more sleep. And there were weeks where my homework would be to sleep 8 hours a night. She would just be like, no, your homework this week is just to sleep. Like if you're not sleeping, none of the rest of this stuff is going to matter. Like your body is not going to receive it if you're not sleeping. And I was like, okay, so I got to figure that out. I got to figure out how I'm going to become a person that prioritizes rest over everything else. Well, in the beginning, that was kind of easy for me. I just had to make very small changes, like making sure everything was done on my end so that when my kids would go to bed, I could also go ahead and shower and lay down and go to bed. And some days that's easy. Some days it's absolutely not. But as I've decided that as long as I'm in bed by like 9:30, that's better than what it used to be, because it used to be like 11. Rest days, I think, getting more sleep and rest days, making sure you're incorporating rest days into your workout routine are critical. They have so many benefits, and I feel that the benefits are mental and physical. I feel like when you're well rested, you are able to be more open-minded about what you're able to achieve in a day. And I feel like physically, when you are well rested, you might be able to do more than what you thought you could in a day. I know that there are times where I feel tired and I say like, oh, I'm gonna go get my workout in anyway. And I give myself credit and I give myself grace for like completing the workout, even though I was tired and I didn't feel like doing it. But when I'm tired, I notice that I maybe don't go as hard. Like I might cheat a set, or I might not lift as heavy because I'm already tired. So I'm like, girl, we good just to be in here. So we're not going to make it hard on ourselves. Let's just do what we can and get out. And that is a good thing, right? Because we didn't skip the day. So on the one hand, it's good. But on the other hand, it's like, well, Tia, if you were just well rested, you could come in here and get the most out of your time. You really get your bang for your buck if you weren't always so tired. So sleeping and rest days, whole complete rest days, which is something that I don't think I was really practicing before either, are things that we're going to talk about today. When we are working out, the workouts really do wreak havoc on our bodies and they deplete a lot of our energy. So rest is necessary for us to kind of repair our bodies and our mental systems and those energy storage systems so that we can continue to move through the rest of the day or prepare your body for whatever your next workout might be the next day. Rest is absolutely necessary for your body to repair itself. But I think perhaps what rest days can give us more than anything is balance, right? The rest and the rest days, I think, give us balance. One thing that I think creates burnout so fast, or maybe it makes people want to hop off the fitness wagon more often than they should, is the fact that they do get legitimately tired. And I don't know if that's because people are working out like every single day, like you're pushing yourself. I don't know if that's because maybe people aren't listening to their bodies enough. Like if your body is telling you like, girl, I'm tired. Like I can't do this again today. And I'm guilty of that too. I'll be tired and I'll be like, ooh, girl, but you have 13 more days until so-and-so, or summer is coming. So like, girl, you know what I'm saying? We do that even though we know like our body is telling us like, girl, you need to rest. And what I have found to be true, at least for myself, is that when I have those built-in scheduled, complete, whole, total rest days, I don't really feel like that too often, right? So my rest days are Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. On Saturday and Sunday, and if you follow me on Instagram, you notice like I'm not really on social media on the weekends anymore, right? And this is why, because on Saturday and Sundays, I'm like, oh, like I'm resting like all the way. We might do things like with the kids, take them somewhere, we're doing like family things, but I'm resting. I am sitting down. I'm watching documentaries. I'm shopping online. Like my feet are up. I'm drinking water, eating really good food, and I'm literally just resting and seeing where the day takes us, right? On Monday, I consider that an active recovery day. And so on Mondays, I'll do cardio. I might do a little bit of Pilates or some type of core work. But for the most part, I'm probably just doing an incline hike. Nothing that's too strenuous or too heavy, too high impact. I'm taking it easy. And I might do so like today, I did a 70-minute walk. For half of the walk, I just did a steady state, no incline stroll. And for the last half of the walk, I did the 12 incline on the speed of 3 thing that, we've talked about on here before, which, by the way, I think absolutely works. I think it does really melt your body down, like all the way. And we'll talk about that more in the personal workout report. But I might do something like that on an active recovery day. But I've noticed that when I come back from a weekend of rest, I am able to really hit those workouts hard. And I really do give them my all because my body is rested and it's ready for another week of workouts. So we've got to start building in those rest days and then not feeling bad about them. Because I think the other thing that happens if you have become a person who is super consistent with working out and training, you might feel bad for taking a day off. And I totally get that because it's hard to tell your brain what your body is telling you, right? Your body might be telling you oh, girl, I'm tired. But your brain might be saying, girl, but you know what? I feel like the brain is full of shame. Is it not? Because our bodies might be saying one thing girl, you better sit down. Or your Apple Watch might be girl, you need to get up. And so your body will be no, girl, we sitting down today. But then your brain will just be shaking your head like Blue Ivy. You, you know better. You need to get up. And I kind of have to tell my brain no, girl. I don't care what you think the rhythm of our day is normally. On this day, we will be sitting down like it's Saturday. And if brain, you don't know that by now, you missed a lesson in kindergarten over 40 years ago. Well, not over 40. I'm not even 40 yet, but you know what I'm saying? A long time ago, you missed a lesson somewhere in there. So I think we have to get to a place where mentally we are okay with the thought of having a rest day or with the thought of not, doing as much so that we can truly, truly rest. And I don't know if it's the placebo effect or what it is, but when I mean to tell you guys, I feel like I can actually see a difference in myself after I've had several days of rest. And maybe it's just that I look more Maybe it's that I just look more relaxed. I don't look beat down and drug through all of the productivity after I've had several days of rest. But I even do feel wow, I can tell that rest is good to my body, right? Rest is good to our bodies. We look better and more relaxed and just more at ease when we have had lots and lots of rest. So getting back to how this kind of impacts our workout routines, it's recommended that you rest for 48 to 72 hours after your training schedule, right? So if you are working out Monday through Friday, it's totally okay that Saturday and Sunday is a rest day for you. Or if you're a person that wants to still be somewhat active, it's totally okay if you take a slow stroll or you do yoga or you stretch or you do something that is very low impact and is not going to cause your heart rate to get up too high. It's not going to be very damaging to your muscles and to your energy storage systems. It's not going to completely tap you out. Think about that. If you are already working out Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday really should be days where you're just kind of taking it easy, maybe getting a massage, taking a nice hot bath, doing something to repair and recover so that you can go back into training. This is true, especially if you're a person that tends to be sore a lot. If you're sore or you're having lots of pain after workouts, I would say to you, consider building in multiple rest days into your schedule to see if that doesn't alleviate some of your pain. I've said this before on the podcast too. You would think that with all of the heavy training that I'm doing right now, that I would be sore. And I have yet to have one day where I'm walking out of the gym and I'm oh my gosh, I can't feel my legs, or oh my gosh, I can't feel my arms. And it's not because she doesn't beat me. And it's not because she doesn't beat me down. Friday, today is Monday. Friday, I literally did 400 reps of core work, right? When I walked out of the gym, I could feel my core, but I wasn't in so much pain that I couldn't like live the rest of my day. I didn't have to come home and take a nap, which luckily for me, that was on a Friday. So that meant that I got 2 days of rest after that. But I wasn't in the kind of pain that people talk about being in, like, oh my gosh, leg day absolutely killed me. No, when I have leg day, oh, I can feel the workout and I can definitely feel those muscles are like, hey girl, what's going on? What are we training for? But like, I can still walk up and down the steps in my house without like having to take them slow. And how I'm able to recognize the difference is because when I was teaching, I was always sore. And maybe that's because I just wasn't taking enough days off. Well, it was my job. I really couldn't, but I wasn't getting enough of that rest and recovery time built into my schedule then. So I know the difference. And the difference now is I'm training what I consider to be harder. Like I'm training harder. I feel like I'm training a lot more. And I have yet to have one day where I've had to like do something extra to try to alleviate soreness, like not even once. So I feel very blessed in that way. And I think that's because she builds in rest days for me, that she probably already knows just from her years of experience would help you combat the soreness so that you can keep training. So if you're not doing the rest days, make sure you're doing the rest days. And because it does give you that work-life balance, it gives you that work-life fitness balance that I think everybody needs, like I said before, to avoid the burnout. It makes it end up feeling like it's part of your lifestyle and not your whole life when you have the rest days. And another friend of mine had shared something on Instagram about hobbies or something like that. And, you know, she had shared what her hobbies were. And strangely enough, people were messaging her, telling her what her hobbies were. And I found that to be very interesting because I'm like, girl, how they gonna know what your hobbies are more than you? But I guess people were telling her that working out was one of her hobbies because she shares that she works out. And she and I just had a conversation about, no, like working out is part of my lifestyle. Like it's what I do so that I can live longer and be healthy. It's not my hobby. You know what I'm saying? And I would say the same for me. I work in the fitness industry. I make money from being a fitness enthusiast, I guess, or being a fitness instructor, being a fitness coach. So fitness isn't my hobby, but rest days allow me time away from fitness so that I can do my actual hobbies, which is like watch documentaries, go try restaurants, try new recipes. I'm still trying to learn to bake, and things like that. So if you put the rest days in there, it'll give you the balance that you need so that you don't feel like, oh, this is overwhelming and it's taking over my life. And I know from my own experience from working with people, that is one of the key things that will make someone, you know, just give up or stop altogether when they feel like the whole fitness thing is taking over their life. So build in the rest days. I really do feel like rest days have been something that people, not that they necessarily slept on, but people just don't talk that much about because honestly, when you think about it, the fitness industry does not make any money off of your rest days, right? So people will have you believe it's like a no days off mentality, or it's like you got to be every day, you know, every day you got to be doing this. Every day you do have to eat well. You do. You gotta eat well every day. But as far as like the breaking down of your muscles, which is what happens when you're working out, and the hard impact that gets put on your joints when you're doing some of these cardio moves or you're running or whatever, that you definitely need days off from that. So part one of this is that everyone should be doing rest days or incorporating whole rest days into their routine, and you should be having 48 to 72 hours of rest. My schedule is 72 hours of rest. If it works out better to you to do the 48, girl, do what works for you, or talk to your trainer or your doctor, or whoever you're working with to create your fitness routine. Just make sure you are starting to incorporate those rest days in there. Now, rest is important because it does prevent the overtraining, right? Overtraining can lead to, like we said, that increased soreness and pain. It can cause dehydration. If you feel like you're never getting in enough water, no matter how much water you drink, girl, it might be because you're just sweating too much, and that is a real thing. I think you probably would have to sweat a whole lot to sweat too much, but it's definitely a thing that can happen. So make sure that number one, you are drinking enough water, but number two, that you are getting the rest. Getting the rest also just promotes overall relaxation. So it gives you, like I said before, the opportunity to do other things. It gives you the opportunity to actually participate in your real life hobbies and spend time with your family. So relaxation is definitely important. And we want to get into the habit of practicing mindful relaxation. And then part two of this is it promotes healthy sleep. So we're going to talk about healthy sleep here for a minute. Healthy sleep gives your body the chance to focus on, in a very deep way, repairing itself. Sleep is where the magic happens. My trainer likes to say to me, and I love it when she says it, and I'm just passing all of this stuff on to you guys because I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm a girl's girl, and if she say it to me and it makes sense and I know it's right, I'll pass it on to you. But she says to me all the time, she says, fat burns in the presence of oxygen, right? And so I think to myself, okay, well, during the day, and this is going to sound really weird, I feel like I'm a person that holds my breath a lot. Not that I hold my breath to a point where I'm not breathing, but I'm not a deep breather. I'm not a conscious breather. I'm not focusing on my breath all throughout the day, right? I'm kind of just sitting and like living life, but I can't say that I'm a deep breather naturally. I have to actually, and I guess that's why they say focus on your breath, because I actually have to focus on doing that if that's something I'm going to do. Take deep breaths in and out all throughout the day. That's just not how I naturally breathe. I would say that I'm a person that naturally holds a lot of tension in their body. Therefore, I'm not a deep breather, like at all. So she always reminds me that like fat burns in the presence of oxygen, meaning those really good deep breaths. So meditation, maybe when you are practicing yoga, but especially when you are sleeping. You are still burning calories when you are sleeping, right? When your body is at rest, you're still burning calories. But also when you are sleeping, that is an extended period of time of deep breathing. And fat burns in the presence of oxygen, right? So getting good sleep is about more than maybe feeling rested or having the energy. Girl, if we want to be like vain and we want to take it there, that's 8 hours where I could be burning like an optimum amount of calories doing absolutely nothing. That's the way I think about it now. So now that I'm like into this and I'm like studying and learning more about it, I'm like, well, wait a minute. It would behoove me to make sure that my bedtime becomes top priority at the end of every night. Like I need to be in bed. I need to be, if I'm not asleep, I need to be focusing on my breath, practicing that deep breathing until I do fall asleep, because maybe that'll help me get a better quality of sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, like who knows what type of magic has happened overnight when I wake up in the morning. Like we don't know. But we do know that every night that we go with like inadequate sleep or bad sleep or just not sleeping at all is one night that maybe we missed out on some of that goodness. So how do we get better sleep? Like, how do we do that? I would say, and this is just my advice, ladies. Okay. I would say number one is by creating some type of bedtime routine, which I don't know if I took all that seriously as an adult. Surely we focus a lot on giving children a bedtime routine, and maybe we get away from that as adults. But I would say creating a bedtime routine. And for me, a bedtime routine kind of looks like maybe I'll have, I like saving that fake ice cream recipe that I shared in the newsletter last month. I like sharing that as like having that as like my last meal of the night, because I just feel like it's so comforting and it's good. And it kind of reminds me of dessert. So I might have that. I might have like a glass of like nighttime tea. I'll take my hot shower, like go through my whole like beauty routine for nighttime. And then I try to be in bed before 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock is like the absolute latest that I want to be in bed, right? So if I'm in bed, if I'm watching TV, like I'll watch TV. If I'm reading a book, I'll read a book. That part really doesn't matter, but I try to get off of my phone. Like I've set up do not disturb on my phone now, and that goes on for me at 9 o'clock. So, I'm not getting any messages or notifications after 9 o'clock. I also started using a melatonin that's like self-dissolving. So you don't have to swallow it or anything like that. It just dissolves right in your mouth on your tongue. And when I mean to tell you, I don't know well, I'm sure it's just melatonin. I'm positive that it's just melatonin, but I don't know where they derive this particular bit of melatonin that goes into these tablets. Because what I mean to tell you, it puts you out like I would say within about 20 minutes or so, you're out and you don't ever even remember falling asleep. I have been getting the deepest sleep with this melatonin, and I'll have to take a picture of it too. Maybe I'll put it in the newsletter so people can see it. So if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, but you listen to this podcast, like, girl, what are you doing? Go to my website, get subscribed to the newsletter, because I try to put as many good things as I can in there. And girl, I do not spam you, because who has the time? But yes, I'll try to either put it on Instagram or I'll put it in the newsletter, but I get it on Amazon. I think they do sell that at BJ's Wholesale too, the brand that I get. But you get the deepest sleep. Like, it is remarkable, and it has changed my life. Because like I said, I wasn't a deep sleeper before. I was a very light sleeper before. You could probably, like, there's no way. Like, I could hear everything and everything would wake me up before. I was a very light sleeper. But now, girl, within 20 minutes, I'm out, and I am not waking up until 5 o'clock the next morning when that alarm clock goes off. And I love that for me, because it has changed my sleep. I'm getting double the amount of sleep every night as long as I'm in bed on time. So I'll be sure to share that. If you're not sleeping well, it can cause hormone level changes. That heavily impacts your stress hormones and your muscle recovery and your muscle building and your overall performance. So if you're not getting good sleep and you feel, and maybe that's why I was always so tense before, because I wasn't getting good sleep. A lot is coming to me during this phone call. So for a lot of us, if we feel tense or if we feel stressed, because sleep does impact your stress hormones, it's like, well, am I stressed out or do I just need sleep? And I'm learning that I think we just all need rest and sleep. We're not really probably as stressed out as we probably think we are. We probably just need sleep because our hormones are probably a little bit unbalanced due to the lack of rest, or at least that was the case for me. I don't want to speak for everybody, but that was the case for me, or I'm learning that was the case for me. So we got to figure that out. We've got to get our bedtimes routines down. We've got to set a bedtime for ourselves. We've got to figure out if there's anything that we can be doing to get better rest. I would say definitely talk to your doctor before you start taking any type of supplement or anything like that. Or get like a nurse's advice, figure that part out. For me, I feel comfortable with taking melatonin. Like, I feel like it's an all natural thing. And it has done wonders for me in a way that I cannot even explain or put into words. Maybe you could look into getting a sleep test done. I feel like if your sleep is at a place where it's really just out of control and you don't know how to quite get it back to where it needs to be to get a healthy night of rest, maybe a sleep test might be helpful for you. And maybe that'll answer a lot of questions that you might have about why you're either not getting good sleep. Are you spending a lot of time in, that deep REM that people need to be in? If you have one of those sleep number beds, I think it has an app that kind of tells you everything you need to know about your sleep. Or if you're a person that sleeps in your fitness watch. I don't sleep in my Apple Watch. But if you're a person who sleeps with your Fitbit on, or if you have a way of digitally tracking your sleep, maybe that's worth a shot too, to sleep in your fitness watch for one night to see what it tells you about your sleep, see what you learn. But I do know that if you aren't getting what your body needs in terms of rest, all of this other stuff you're doing will probably just cancel itself out. Sleep, I'm going to say that sleep is almost just as important as the food. If I had to rack and stack them, I would say food is the number one most important thing, because you can't out-train a bad diet. That thing that people always say is absolutely true. So your food has got to always be on point. And then the next thing that I would say is that you got to have the sleep, the rest, and the recovery. That has to be on point. because when you think about it, you do the food and the sleep and the rest way more than you do the workout. You are supposed to sleep for 8 hours every night. That's like a third of your day. You only work out for what, 45 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the person, their goals, and all of that jazz. That's a very small part of your day. But the sleeping and the food, we do that more than we do anything. So we've got to get those two things right and under control in a way that works for us. Because if you aren't rested very well, that, like we said, that leads to so many other things. Signs that you might need more rest and recovery are the following. Do any of these things speak to you? They definitely spoke to me. That's why I'm sharing them on the podcast. Are you agitated? Are you moody? Do you feel like you just can't sleep? So you know how when babies are overtired because their sleep has gotten so out of whack that they're so tired that they can't even go to sleep. Like, are we experiencing that as adults? So can you not sleep? Do you feel depressed? Do you have a loss of appetite? Are you stressed out in other areas of your life? If any of that stuff or a combination of any of them sounds like what you're dealing with, I would say, number one, talk to a doctor or like a licensed therapist, first and foremost. If you're already doing those things, then ask either one of those experts, how can you fix your sleep? Like, how can you not let maybe some of the other things that are going on in your life affect your sleep or your sleeping habits? I would also say, and again, this is just my personal opinion as a fitness coach, and this is one of the things that I actually stand on. If you feel like there is another area in your life that is so demanding or overwhelming for you, I would not even be forcing my body to work out. Because when your body is tapped out, it's tapped out. You can't take from it what it doesn't have, right? So, for example, as a fitness coach, I won't even work with somebody who has just had a baby. Like, if you come to me and you're on some, I need to, get back in shape. I just had a baby. I'll say, okay, how old is your baby? And you tell me how old your baby is. If your baby is not even 6 months old, I literally tell people all the time, oh no, honey, like you just had that baby 5 minutes ago. Girl, you need to come back to me when that baby is sleeping all night. When you're no longer waking up all night long to feed the baby, when your baby starts sleeping all night, because I would like to believe that means you're sleeping all night again too, then come back to me and let's talk. But until you start sleeping all night or your baby starts sleeping all night, like, girl, trust me, you have enough on your plate because your body is already stressed out. Your body is already undergoing enough stress just for the lack of sleep. So I would say to people who are dealing with anything that feels maybe you have a very demanding job, or maybe certain aspects of your relationship or something else just might not be what it needs to be. And that could be more of a priority than like the workout thing. Let that be your priority and just focus on your food and getting rest. And then once whatever your thing is kind of works itself out, then plug the workouts back into that spot. But if you're a person who is already going through something, maybe you're a caretaker for elderly parents and that has you stressed and you're not getting a lot of rest because of that, girl, don't do that to your body. Don't do it to yourself and don't do it to your body, because your body cannot be pulled from both ends. It can't be stressed out during the day and stressed out at night while you're asleep. And then on top of that, you're going to physically stress it out by putting it through exercise. And I know that's going to be an unpopular thing. Everybody is not going to like it that I said that, because for some people, I think they feel like fitness does help them, right? And maybe it alleviates stress. And if that's you, then yeah, by all means, go for it. But I'm kind of talking to the people right now who know that they are tapped out. And if you know you're tapped out, do not further stress yourself out by trying to make workouts happen every day. Because if your body is stressed, you don't want to put it under more stress unnecessarily. So definitely talk to your doctor, talk to your therapist, see if you can figure out a way to start getting better sleep. Consider doing a sleep test. Like we said, wear your fitness watch to see if that gives you an indicator of what's happening in your sleep. Try to create a really strong bedtime routine to see if that helps you. Consider like a natural supplement, but definitely talk to your doctor, your medical professional about that first, girl, because I am nobody's doctor. So, consider doing that, and let's just see where it takes us. Let's see if we prioritize sleep in the same way we prioritize food if we don't get to see more physical change with the workouts and some of the other things we have going on. Because I know for me, I feel like that definitely was a game changer. Once I started taking the rest more seriously and I started prioritizing the rest, I feel like I started to see a whole lot more change. And I want that for everybody. So let's see what we can do. I know we're all tired. I know we could all use the sleep. So let's just see if we can't make it happen. Okay. So for my personal workout report, I am still loving all of the things and all of the results. I feel so much stronger. I've gone up in weight in a lot of the different things that I'm doing, especially with like the pull-ups. My goal is to be able to do unassisted pull-ups, and I've gone up in weight in those, meaning that I'm lifting more of my own natural body weight now. And so that's exciting. I'm getting my carbs from veggies still. So for the month of April, like I shared, I was going to try to start getting more of my carbs from veggies, and I was going to try to rely less on, some of like the starchy carbs. And I feel like my body has responded very well to that too. So it's never too late for any of us to try these things. If you want to try that, girl, it's only Monday. Well, by the time you guys hear this, it'll be Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. It's still very early in the week, and any day can be day one. Girl, just start trying to sub out some of your starchy carbs for just, like an extra serving of vegetables here and there. And Google fibrous veggies. Like, take a look at what's on that list and try to start incorporating more of those into your meals and get those on your plates and see if your body just doesn't respond nicely to them. Because my body definitely did. And the end of April is not even here. We still have 6 days left, seven days left. So I'm excited to see where I'm at by the end of the month. I have lost another 3 pounds, which, the weight loss thing doesn't really move me because that's slow moving. So I try not to look too much into that, but I have lost another 3 pounds. So I'll share that. And I would say that my biggest thing right now, is to just continue to focus on not holding so much tension and stress in my body. Because I just discovered that I just naturally do that. It's almost like I'm always bracing myself for some sort of impact. And I don't even know what that is. Like, I don't know what I'm bracing myself for, but it's like how Arthur walks around with his little hand in a fist. I feel like I do that with my whole body, but it's like for no reason at all that I can think of. So I'm going to work on just being more relaxed. And maybe that's because I'm just not a person that relaxed much before. And I'm just learning how to do that now. So that's my goal probably for the next month, especially between now and when the children get out of school for the summer. I want to figure out a way to just release the tension in my body, because I know I'll just continue to get more and better results the more I'm able to relax. So yay for that. I also wanted to share that, we talked about the 12-3-30, like that whole incline walk thing that TikTok was making such a big deal out of at one point. And I've been doing that lately, and I low-key think it works. Like, I think it does do what they said. And I think it is which I don't want to say it's a fat burner, because, all workouts burn fat if you do them long enough. But I will say that I really think that there's something there. It is some magic happening in that 12-3-30. So if you haven't tried that, especially if you don't want to run and you kind of want to take things slow, girl, don't feel bad if you have to hold on to the treadmill. You have to keep your hands up, because it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. As long as your legs are moving, you will sweat and it's going to be fine. And eventually you'll get to a place where maybe you can walk without holding on. But literally, that's what the rails are there for. So I never understood that either. I'm like, why do people make such a big deal about people holding on to the treadmill? That's literally what it's there for you to be able to hold on, hold on and walk. So yes, if you decide to try that too, definitely share your experience with that with that whole thing with me, because I want to hear what other people have to say about trying it and doing it consistently so that I don't feel like, I'm just drinking the TikTok juice. So yeah, I think that's everything for today. Let's talk about a couple things that are random yet relatable. Some of the things I've been watching on TV and all of that. Number one, I think that pregnancy PTSD is a thing. Anytime I think my period is going to be late, and this might be TMI, but I feel like we've been friends long enough by now to have this conversation. But anytime I'm even like one day late, like I am stressed and I do not like it. I've had my tubes tied twice. After I had them tied that first time, girl, it really didn't take. And that's how I ended up with the third child, right? So I had them tied again. I was like, do something to them again. After I had him, they did whatever they did. And I haven't been pregnant since. But girl, because that happened to me that first time, whenever I'm late, just even by a day, or even, like you are supposed to get your cycle, or maybe you naturally get it when you wake up in the morning, but girl, for whatever reason, that day it didn't come until like dinner time. All that day I'm sweating and I am praying to God that he didn't choose me. I'm like, Jesus, give that baby to somebody else that really wants it. Because that's no longer the desire of my heart. And I think he knows that by now, but I'm like, listen, give the babies to somebody else. I'm not her. I'm not it. I can't do it. Jesus, give somebody else to raise that baby. I can't. And so I really think I have pregnancy PTSD, or I think I have some sort of thing where I am literally scared for my life when that happens to me. And it's possibly because the first time I had my tubes tied, it just didn't take. And I have a receipt of that happening to me every single day. I feed him. He's in first grade. So yeah, I just thought that I would share that because I'm like, that has to be a real thing. Like, people are afraid of having a baby years after their last one, even though they have tried to prevent it somewhat. And I know somebody out there is going to be like, well, why don't you just get on birth control? And I've tried that. Like, I've tried being on birth, but I don't know. I think maybe because I'm older now, birth control just doesn't even agree with my body anymore. So I can't, I'm miserable when I'm on it now. So I'm like, no, I can't live like that every day either. Let's just hope this surgical procedure that I had really takes and really works this time, because we also do know that whenever you start working out and getting healthier, girl, ain't that the first thing that happened to you? It's normally the first thing that happens to you. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, here we go again. But hopefully that's no longer my story. The closer I get to 40, that would be lovely. Let's talk about the Love is Blind debacle and how I was so excited for that reunion. I had set a reminder on my phone. Girl, I even set a reminder on Twitter so that I wouldn't forget to watch the live reunion. And that particular day, there was a war of the remotes in my house. And so I ended up, conceding and letting the offense win, right? So I'm watching something else and I'm kind of irritated about it. Because I'm like, I'm supposed to be watching this live, but whatever, it's Netflix. I can always watch it later or the next day. Whatever, I'll just stay off Twitter so that I don't get any spoilers. Okay, well, it was really only like a 30-minute war. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go to Netflix and I'll just tune in 30 minutes late because surely the mess is still happening. And when I saw that reunion, not only had it not even started, but like there was a whole situation going on behind it. Then I felt fine to get on Twitter and start doing my own investigations. And I was just like, what is happening with Netflix? Why isn't this live? Why are they so late? And so then I waited for it to come on. And girl, at 10 o'clock, I had to go to sleep because, again, I'm honoring my rest and my bedtime routine. So at 10 o'clock, I went ahead and I went to sleep. The next morning when I got up, I saw all of the things. Apparently, some people were able to see it live. Some people weren't. I got on TikTok and kind of had seen some of the recaps and I saw some of the thoughts and short clips of it. And ultimately, I decided I didn't need to see it because I'm like, TikTok has kind of told me the high points of what happened. They told me it was kind of an aggravating hour of television and that it was low key just not even good. Like it wasn't anything to like waste your time watching. And I appreciate that. And I thank TikTok for saving me that time because that's hours of my life I would not have been able to get back. So I haven't seen it yet because it just, I think the closer you get to 42 is like you have windows of opportunity for certain things. Netflix window of opportunity was that Sunday night with me and that reunion. You didn't catch me when I was giving you that attention. And now it's kind of like, I know I'm no longer interested because the internet has already told me everything I needed to know. And so like, I'm good on it, sis. I still will watch the next season of Love is Blind whenever it comes out. I think they're filming it now or something like that. And I just feel like this last season was just a lot. Like they let people who didn't get engaged come to the show events, like, on the season. People were trying to date other people's people and I don't know. Like this season was kind of just like a mess. So I don't know what Nick and Vanessa are going to do about this show. Because it seems like it's kind of going off the deep end a little bit and not in like a good way. Like, I think that's why Married at First Sight does so well. Because the couples might be a mess or the couples might even not be good TV, but they stick to the process. They don't change anything up. They don't I don't think they purposefully try to like drum up drama. It just naturally happens because people are put into a weird situation. But yeah, I don't know what Netflix is going to do with that show because they got eaten alive. Ooh, eaten. What is that? They got, Twitter ate them alive when this was going on and rightfully so. So we'll see. Something else that's on Netflix that I did get a chance to watch over the weekend while I was resting was the Whitney Houston movie, I Want to Dance with Somebody. I have to admit, when that movie came out to theaters, I was like, I'm not watching nothing else about Whitney. Because y'all don't never do Whitney right. Y'all don't ever do Whitney justice. And I'm tired of y'all making Whitney look like something when we know that wasn't her whole life. I personally think Whitney Houston, is she not the greatest? Like, is she not the best? Like her voice, no one has a voice like her. No one has ever been able to sing like her. I think she was so stunning, so beautiful. Like I literally watch The Preacher's Wife every holiday season. And I just look at her like, girl, what was it like being his favorite? He made you so gorgeous and he gave you that beautiful voice. So like, really. But what I will say about this movie that made, me think differently is that I do feel like this movie came from a more honest place. Like it told her story of becoming America's like vocal princess. Like it showed that. It showed enough of her personal life. The movie did not drag Bobby Brown because I feel like other things that I've watched in the past definitely would drag Bobby through the mud. I feel like this movie painted everything in such a very accurate light, or what we believe to be accurate as fans and not really knowing them in real life. And I could appreciate that. And I love watching people's stories of how they came to be and what their journey and all that was like. So that's really good. If you have time to watch that, watch that. Another really good thing on Netflix right now is The Longest Third Date. This is a documentary that tells the story of a couple. Well, not really a couple, but these people who had started dating, they met on a dating app. They'd gone on 2 dates. For the third date, he invited this girl to go to Costa Rica with him, but it was just as like the whole pandemic thing was beginning. So they get stuck in Costa Rica. And their story develops from there. And I won't spoil it and tell you the whole thing because I thought it was very interesting to see how two people that really don't even know each other, like, dealt with that situation. Very interesting. And I think it's something we can all relate to since we all lived through, the pandemic. It's just that most of us got to live through the pandemic in the comfort of our own homes. These two people, which I'm not going to front, they made the best out of their situation. So I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like they were like, I don't know, having the worst time ever. But, I can imagine that wasn't like the easiest thing to be like in a foreign country and away from your family during that whole thing. So check that out if you have time to watch that too. Now, something else that I saw on my Twitter that I think most people may have seen by now is the video of that man fussing on the plane about that baby. And I'll be honest, I felt like some of the things he said, they were funny, But for the most part, I'm like, what is it about that? And babies crying. Like, y'all have to understand that people have children, number one. Babies are babies, and they gonna cry for whatever the reason they're going to cry. And it's not really much you can do about that on an airplane. Now, watch the video if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, I want to talk about that video from another perspective. And that is the perspective of, I don't know if that was that man's wife, girlfriend, or who she was in relation to him. But watch it and watch it again from that lady's perspective, because the amount of embarrassment she was dealing with being with him in that moment, oh my gosh, was unreal. And I felt so bad for her. Like, and if you can find the different clips, there's a clip where the police is like escorting them somewhere. And she's like walking kind of like several steps behind him, because she's probably thinking, I can't believe this, just ruined our vacation. Because I know she thought she was going to Orlando, Florida. I don't know if they were going to Disney. I don't know if they were going to SeaWorld, Universal, just to see friends. I don't know where they were going. Maybe they were about to go get on a cruise, because I think cruises go out of Orlando too. Anyway, that lady thought she was about to go on vacation. She took PTO and time away from something somewhere to be with him, to celebrate, kick back, like whatever. She was there for the good vibes. And the way he showed out on that plane, I'm sure she was probably like, never again. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're married and it's not a never again situation. But I'm like, what even happens after that? Like, is he on the no-fly list now? Like, what happens? Because, I mean, he really didn't physically harm anybody. And so maybe they only put you on the no-fly list when you do that. I don't know. But I know it was a lot. And what I realized too, or was just like watching it, I'm like, okay, he was serious about proving a point to somebody. I don't know who, because he made everybody deplane. Like the video that I saw of it, I think that guy was like, oh, they're making all of us get off the plane now. So all of those people had to get off the plane so that they could escort him to wherever they take the people who don't know how to act. Like, are you kidding me? Babies cry. I remember when we lived in Washington State, we were in Walmart one day. And one of my babies was crying. I would like to believe it was the smallest one, because the other two would have been too old for that at that point. But, he was crying, and we were in self-checkout. So like, I'm trying to hurry up and scan all of our stuff. And he's crying. So it's really nothing I can do about it, but he's in the carrier and I had the carrier in the cart. Right. And a lady who I immediately recognized, like, wasn't in her right mind. And I knew she had to be to even come up to me and say something to me about crying. But I was approached that day. A woman was literally screaming at me over him crying. And I very calmly looked at her and said, like, ma'am, if you don't get away from me and my kids, him crying is going to be the least of your problems. And she turned around and went and minded her business, going to do something else. I'm like, oh, lady, because we don't play those games. Like, I'm not from the Pacific Northwest. I'm not chilling cool. Like, as we've said several times on this episode, I walk around with my Arthur fist ready to go, which I shouldn't. But I'm like, lady, I'm the wrong one. I'm the wrong one. And I know I look young or whatever, but if I have to turn out Walmart, like, I will. And that would actually be very on brand for Walmart. So nobody probably would even bat an eye if I had to address you over my little tiny baby crying. Like, he's tiny enough to be in a carrier. Girl, he's small. If he could stop crying, he would. And now, to my defense, also with the crying baby in Walmart, first of all, he didn't start crying until we got into the checkout. So I think he was just overcooked. Like, I had overcooked his grits. He was probably ready to go home like minutes ago. Number one. Number two, I don't know where his pacifier was. But if he had a pacifier, I would have given it to him. Parenting is not like made of perfection. It is going to be a time where you're on a plane and somebody's crying. You're going to be in Target and little Matthew is giving his mama a hard time. So you going to hear Matthew in there yelling and screaming, and you going to hear his mama saying, Matthew, sit down. Matthew, get over here. Da-da-da. Like, we've all seen it and we've all heard it. And all you can do in those moments is say, man, I hope that lady's day turns around, or whoever the parent is. That's what I've learned to do anyway. I don't ever have the perspective of, man, make that baby shut up. Like I just say to myself, like, dang, I hope that lady's day turns around, because I know that's hard for her. And the parent is probably sweating, because the parent probably knows, like, oh my gosh, now we're on this plane, this baby. Like, nobody wants to be that person with the crying baby in a space like an airplane. Parents are doing the best they can. So whenever you're somewhere and a child is crying and or showing out, number one, let's all remember that that's not even our problem. We don't have the crying baby. The baby ain't in our lap making all that noise. In certain cases, we're not even sitting next to the baby. The baby might be in front of you or behind you. And yes, that probably is going to suck. But think about how awful it has to be the actual parent of that little noisemaker. They feel it way more intensely than you do. Because guess what? When this plane lands, you're about to go enjoy your vacation, and that person is going to be stuck with that unhappy baby. It's how you have to think about it. It's how you have to think about it. Most things in life that irritate us are very temporary, if we choose to allow them to be. Now, sometimes we deal with stuff for much longer than we should, but that's a whole nother episode and a whole nother topic. But something like a crying baby, like, that plane is going to land eventually, or that baby might cry itself to sleep, whichever one comes first. We'll be thankful when either one of them happens. But if you haven't seen that video, go check it out and watch it from the perspective of his wife, girlfriend, travel companion, whoever she is to him. Because when I went back and watched it and only looked at her, I was just like, man, it's written all over her body language that, like, he must be a piece of work. She is tired of it. And this time it happened to ruin her vacation too. And I do feel bad for her. So check that out if you have not seen it. And lastly, I just wanted to say two things. One thing, I am going to be releasing merch for the podcast at the beginning of May. That's very exciting. We've got a little bit of everything for everybody. I hope you see something up there that you like, that you would consider purchasing and making a part of your home decor or your workout wardrobe. We'll see. I'm so excited about that. And then lastly, yes, we're going to have another group coaching session starting after Mother's Day. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm keeping the group very, very small. I have figured out a way to kind of do it in the same way that I do the individual coaching. So it's like you'll be getting that individual coaching experience, but in a small group setting. Very excited for that. Stay tuned for it. It'll be information about that in the pod or in the newsletter as well. So once again, if you're not signed up to receive the newsletter, go to my website, get subscribed so you can be kept up to date on all things Tia V Fitness as well as Tia's Table. And I think that brings us to the end of this episode of the podcast. I've got to go get my children from school because the pickup line has started to develop. I'm sure someone was probably there an hour ago. I don't know what they do in their cars when they get to school way before school gets out. That is also something that intrigues me on a very high level. But anyway, I'm going to go pick my children up from school. I have enjoyed this conversation. I hope someone has found it to be helpful. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about, please feel free to email me at tiavfitness@gmail.com or shoot me a message on Instagram at tiavfitness. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Remember, when you're out, compliment a woman, make her day, tell her something nice about herself. Don't compete, don't compare, don't complain. What God has for you is for you. Never knock another woman's hustle. And I will talk to you next time. And it'll be closer to summer to then. I'm so glad to finally be becoming a summer girl. It is time. We are almost there, ladies. Almost at the finish line. Have a great rest of your day. Love you, girl. Bye.